Happy birthday! Woo. Today, if you couldn't tell with the balloons and all the sprinkles in the lobby, today is our 1-year birthday as a church. And we're just so excited for all that God has done in this past year. My name is Josh. If you have joined our church in the last 5 or 6 weeks, I've been on sabbatical. So I'd love to meet you if I haven't met you already. And I'm excited for this upcoming season, but we wanted to take a moment and stop and look back over the last year at just some of the highlights of everything that God has done. One of the common questions I get asked when I'm just visiting with people who know that I'm in ministry is they say, how's the church going? And often I'm at a loss for words, to be honest. Often I just smile and I'm like, good, it's going well, or whatever, not because there's nothing, but because there's so many things that God has been doing in our church and maybe in your life over this past year. So we're just going to highlight some of these. I understand that this is barely scratching the surface, but let's look at a few of the areas. One is in the area of growth. Our new kind of Sunday attendance number in our auditorium is 225 people. That's about roughly 100 people more than we were at a year ago. So we can celebrate what that means. We had 394 people in here on Easter last year, and every week we talk about Jesus and hopefully the gospel each Sunday when we gather together, but especially on Easter, we really try and share the gospel message in very clear ways. And so 394 people got to experience that on Easter, and then 112 partners. Those are people, that's what we call our church members. Those are people who would say, this is where, not just my church home, but I give here, I serve here, I attend a life group here, and I'm not just receiving from this church, I'm actually participating in the mission. So those are some areas of growth, and we just love not just filling an auditorium or anything like that. We love that means more people are growing in their discipleship, and we get to be a part of that story. Another area is in the area of finances. Some of you may know this. If you were here beyond a year ago, we had 3 vision nights over the summer of 2018, and one of the questions we kept getting from people is like, so do you think if we were our own church, we would actually be able to pay the bills? That was like a big question a lot of people asked. And it was like a shrug your shoulders, I hope so. It was like, we'll be praying about that, And we can just celebrate God's provision financially. Our giving has consistently covered our expenses. In fact, we have money in savings. We've actually been able to put money in savings and be prepared. We went from 60 households or individuals giving to 90. That's a 50% increase in people, regardless of what the dollar amount is. 50% more people this year said, I want to invest in the mission that is happening here at Hill City Church. And that allowed us over this past year to increase our budget to include a 3rd pastoral staff hire, and we were able to hire Andrew as our family pastor. So we can celebrate that. And even if you look at, in the past 4 months, having Andrew on staff as our family pastor, you can see the difference of having a clear leader in kids ministry and youth ministry, and students are growing in their discipleship more, and that all happens because people are investing their resources here. So that's why we celebrate giving. Another area is in the area of serving. We've seen a lot of awesome things happen in serving here. We did our first ever Impact Week, where we took the Sunday, not really off, but we didn't meet together on a Sunday, but instead we had different service projects. 13 service projects happened during Impact Week, and those were over 100 people were involved in serving in different areas of our community. So that was awesome. We had partnerships with different local ministries and opportunities to care for our city, like Taft Elementary, which you heard from their principal earlier, and then also Boise Rescue Mission. We have numerous groups now who have said, I want to consistently serve a meal on a monthly basis there. Not only that, I don't really have a stat for this one or a number for this one, but there's more people serving here at our church than ever. I think about another one of those issues a year ago before we launched was like, well, who's going to be in this kids' classroom because no one signed up to serve, or whatever. And we had so many spots that we needed to be filled. Some of you are nodding your heads because you were helping in those ministries. You're like, yes. People who serving week after week without ever taking a week off because we just didn't have enough people serving. And now we just have more people serving than ever. And I think God has positioned us to be in a really healthy spot as a church this year. So can we celebrate all the people serving, being involved? Another area, as if that was not enough, another area is community and life groups. This past year, 10 new life groups have launched. We started our church with 9 life groups. and we launched more than we had before. And so that's an amazing answer to prayer. Jake, our associate pastor, oversees not just worship ministry, but also the life group ministry here at this church. And we believe that Sundays is not enough. If this is all that is entailed in your spiritual life, that we need each other. We need to be in community with one another and in spiritual practices as well. So 10 new groups. That leads us to a total of 24 groups, including men's and women's groups and Bible studies and all of those together. And then also we had monthly men's and women's events. Not only that, we had our first ever women's retreat and we had our annual men's retreat this summer. And I don't know if you know this, but those are all areas that it's not like I had nothing to do with the planning of the women's retreat. I know, big shock there. But like, those are all ministries that we don't have staff people who are overseeing. Those are volunteer leaders who've stepped up and said, we care about discipleship and pouring into people. Can we celebrate all the community and all those opportunities? And then one more highlight is just we had 11 baptisms this year. We can celebrate that as well. 11 baptisms, that's like almost a person every single month, like 0.95 people a month or whatever it works out to. But no, that's what we want to see as a church. We want to see people growing in their discipleship. And what that means for some of you is going from one stage of discipleship to the next and seeing how you can serve in God's kingdom. But what that means for some people is coming to know Jesus for the very first time and making that decision of faith. And we just celebrate the baptisms and the life change and all that God has done. Again, this is barely scratching the surface, but I'm going to run out of time up here real fast if we don't jump into what we have for today. But can we just celebrate one more time all the ways God has been moving?